see, I believe everything happens for a reason.
We don't have to do this. You know that, right?
After all we've been through, everything that I've done, it can't be for nothing.
Hi, I'm M Joshua, here from Gamechurch, here with Eric from Naughty Dog. And we're here to ask a couple questions about the upcoming game, The Last of Us. There's a lot of questions that we have, but we're just going to stick to just a few, just to keep things focused and oriented towards really what's important. All right, so Eric, the first question that I have is, Nathan Drake was known for being a swashbuckling, good, likable guy, and now you're transitioning into a much more mature, much more violent theme. One of the criticisms that I heard a lot of people say for Nathan Drake was, it seemed like he was doing a lot of violence for such a lovable, likable guy. And at E3 last year, there was like a roar of applause when they saw the conclusion of the trailer where Joel shoots a guy in the head after struggling for a shotgun. And so over the past year, there's been a lot of questions about game violence and how you handle those things. I was just wondering, what do you think about, has the subject of violence and the criticism of violence changed the game design since, say, last E3?
So, I mean, The Last of Us has always been a story that we're trying to tell a narrative about Joel and Ellie. And at its core, it's not about violence. Violence is just a necessary thing in the world that they're put into. So, at its core, it's a game about love. It's a game about loyalty. It's a game about redemption. And as you play the game and unravel the narrative, you'll get those themes come across more and more. So when you pick up your copy on June 14th, you'll understand why the violence is in there. That's the game world that they live in. It's this brutal, harsh world, scarce resources. And what we did when we made this game is we wanted to ask the question, how would humanity behave in this sort of environment? So this is just, some of the people have violent outcomes.
We've had Jak and Daxter, and we've had Crash Bandicoot, and of course Nathan Drake and Sully. So we've had a lot of like these comical, whimsy characters, but never so much in the post-apocalyptic setting. How much does that, what was the desire to move towards that more mature brand as opposed to, well, for lack of a better term, younger-oriented games? Is it because of the age group or other reasons?
Well, I mean, the story as it sort of unpacked itself, initially when Neil and Bruce broke off to sort of formulate this game, they were thinking about honestly making a Jak 4. They did some concept sketches. There's a lot of designs we actually had. We revealed some in Game Informer a few months ago. And we just realized that it wasn't what we were going for. It was creatively not the direction we wanted to head with that franchise. So the idea came upon to sort of think up a new IP, a new brand that could become potentially a franchise for us. And they happened to be watching the Planet Earth documentary, the BBC one, and they saw this cordyceps fungus, and it attacked an ant. It essentially, the fungus grew a spore out of the ant's head, and the question popped in their head is, what would happen if, this cordyceps fungus spread to humans? How would humans behave? What would go on in that situation? So that was sort of like the kernel that germinated the rest of the game, and then everything sort of sprung from there. Joel and Ellie became characters, and their story had to be told.
Why do you think that we at large as a people group are ready for the post-apocalyptic, or maybe it's become a normal thing for us?
I mean, I feel like our game differentiates itself a little bit by our post-pandemic setting. We're grounded in this very plausible science, this very real world. Sort of the cordyceps fungus exists. It happens. It infects ants. It can infect cows. It affects different species of animals. I feel like that setting has maybe taken on a role in the popular psyche just because it's something that, people have been thinking about, the world situation we're in and things that go around. It's something that is fascinating for anybody who's a human. You want to know, how would you react? How would you respond in those sort of environments? It's a nice sort of basis and foundation for asking a lot of interesting questions. And I think that setting just gives us that sort of ability to ask these questions that are really compelling.
My last question, a little bit more on the less serious side. So where does all this fit into the Book of Revelations?
Wow. As a person I am confirmed Catholic, but I haven't practiced in a long time. I would say, it's not really tied to any sort of belief and ideology structures. This is its own world with its own sort of basis and foundation and sort of moral direction, because it's a changed world. It's not the world you and I know. It's not the world of cameras. It's not the world of microphones. It's not the world of cell phones, mass media, internet. None of that exists. So what people believe, how they react, and how they interact, it's completely different. So I don't really think we could tie it to any sort of religious foundation.
Understood. Thank you so much, Eric. Very gracious. Thank you for all your time. Thank you for meeting with us and talking to us. I'm Josh Cauller for Gamechurch, and this has been Eric from The Last of Us.